Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our technology class. This is week 26. So this week there isn't any new typing lesson, so you get a little break again this week, just to let everybody catch up, because I know this is our longest quarter, so I didn't want to just keep piling on the typing, right? So I'm let you guys catch up. If you got behind, use this week. Go into your typing account and catch up, okay? And this week we're actually doing our last lesson for digital citizenship. It's not even really, I wouldn't even call it like a formal lesson. This is more just like a recap of everything that we've discussed. And there's just a short activity for you to really think about this topic and apply it to your life. So we're going to start. And I'm going to read something to you. This was written by a high school kid, and this is in this book called True Connections: Teen to Teen Advice About Social Media and the Digital World. And so I'm going to read this to you. It is the first day of summer vacation going into my senior year. I find myself waking up around 10 in the morning as usual, but this year's summer vacation is going to be different. The smell of turkey bacon and buttery pancakes transports me to the from the comfort of my bed to the stools of my kitchen. My dad asks me about what I have planned for the day, but I completely disregard what he says as my head is buried in my phone. My dad slaps the top of my head, which grabs my attention. He says, "Here's a challenge for you, Mr. Shang Li. Why don't you put down your phone for a couple of days and enjoy life for once?" I decide to take him up on his offer and shut my phone down hesitantly and give the phone to him. And so the challenge begins. I start moving around because I have nothing to do. But in reality, I have a lot to do. I clean my filthy room, which takes me a good hour to clean. I sit back and admire my cleaning masterpiece. Then I start to read my summer reading, 1984. But I actually get interested in the book. I read on for hours in the comfort of my bed. 3 o'clock hits, and I could hear the pitter-pattering of my baby brother's little feet running towards the front door. I dash down our steps as I meet my baby brother at the front door. I ask him if he wants to play kickball outside. He seems puzzled, but excited to try out this kickball game. I take him outside and demonstrate slowly how the game is played. We start to play, and my inner child bursts out of me as I actually am having fun, bringing back memories of the days of not knowing about cell phones. Ever since that day, I intentionally take breaks from my phone and spend time either being productive or spending time with my family. Now my goal is to get my own family away from burying their heads in their phones. So this is interesting. He's taken the challenge that we're going to be talking about, the challenge to put down his phone, put down his device, and go and do something unplugged, right? Where you don't really need a device for it. And it's so crazy to even think, like, are we really at this place where this is like, we have to actually think about putting devices away and doing activities without devices? I mean, we think back to just even like 5 years ago, and I know you guys think back to 5 years, you were just in like elementary school, but 5 years, we think, wow, so much has changed. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. This wasn't really an issue, where we would have to put devices away. This is like such a new thing now that we realize how much these devices are taking our attention, right? And they're keeping us from doing other things and moving around, which seems so ridiculous. Kids are just in their beds these days with their devices, and they're constantly sitting, staring at a screen. And it's taking a toll on the physical, right? Maybe you're feeling weak, tired, the mental, right? Of just constantly staring at a screen and having to post and like and comment. And even with COVID, I know that it helps people stay connected, which is great, but it's just this like digital connection is just not the same as the face-to-face physical connection. So it really is interesting how our society has changed so much. And for us to really think about, like, what is your digital life like, which is kind of how we're going to be ending our unit on this. but what is the role of digital media in our lives? And this is something that we should be controlling, right? We should actually be stopping and thinking about what is the role that I'm allowing digital media to have in my life? How much time do I spend on it? What do I spend on, doing on it? And so it's definitely something for you guys to start thinking about, just the impact that it's having on you. And I know that COVID hasn't been easy. We've all been spending so much time on screens. I can't even, I actually daydream about what it would feel like to go to one of those outdoor places where you can just sledgehammer things, and it would be so fun to just take laptops and devices and just smash them and be like, we're free. I'm gonna go for a hike in the Grand Canyon. I'm gonna go, I just want to be outside in nature and be free from staring at a screen all day, locked in a room all day. I get it. It's not an easy season. And maybe some of you guys have become accustomed to it. That's all you do now is screen, 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 screen. Well, let me just tell you, there's a whole world out there when you put your screen away. There really is. And we have to make a choice to go and explore that world and use our brains and be creative and get out there and be physical and do things, right? And I know it's not easy because we live in a city. Most of us live in buildings or, places where it's not easily accessible to just go out to a nature or anything like that. But we still have to be conscious of coming up with things that we can do in the places that we're at, to have this balance, to not allow the digital life to just take us over, where we literally have hardly any contact with the physical world, right? So it's definitely something that we have to make a choice on and be conscious of, which is what we've been trying to get you guys to learn, these lessons of staying safe and making good choices and having a balance, right? So we're here, hang on. Okay, so let's take a look at this news report that came out a couple months ago. These are teens talking about their mental health, their feelings with the pandemic, their technology use, just to give you guys an idea of just where kids are at. So let's watch this.
Connected. 46 teenagers in California, ages 14 to 17, talked with researchers and kept journals.
Raise your hand if you'd like to go back to in-person learning.
With the permission of their parents, Serena and her brother Isaac, Muna, and Marley came out of anonymity to talk with us.
I'm definitely not as happy as I used to be. I'm always talking to people, socializing, so that's a big part what makes me happy. I can't do that as much, so yeah.
It's hard.
The report finds teens are experiencing tremendous loss due to school closure and social isolation. Muna misses cheerleading.
I'm not looking forward to going to competitions or games and things like that.
In the study, those who had diagnosed disorders before the pandemic were now more symptomatic, and all of the teens were showing signs of minor depression, anxiety, and worry. 65% said they got little to no exercise over 1 week, and most are connecting with friends through social media and gaming, often spending hours online. One boy in the report said, "My use of social media is to numb my feeling, not feel something else."
So raise your hand if you spend more time on screens now than you used to. Everybody? Okay. Raise your hand if you think that's a bad thing.
Even during our interview, their attention was sometimes split.
Isaac, I see you looking down. I don't know what you're looking at.
My bad.
When you're supposed to be watching a Zoom class, are you sometimes on the phone?
I'm in class in Zoom, and then I have my phone positioned off to the side, and I'm FaceTiming with my friends.
It's hard to be a teenager trying to form an identity and gain independence in a shutdown.
You're telling them you can't really separate from mom and dad the way you want to. You can't just go hang with your friends in town. You will have to understand that those stressors are very real.
We used to tell kids to stay off screens. We used to try to limit screen time. Now we're putting them on screens to do school.
What's really important is it needs to be structured, it needs to be organized. Screens still, even during COVID, shouldn't be out during dinner time or meal times. That there have to be no screen times for every family.
And for parents feeling like they can't break the spell screens have cast on their kids, the report offers this advice. Be a role model. They notice if you're constantly on a screen too. Brainstorm ideas for non-screen activities. Emphasize healthy eating, sleeping, and exercise, and encourage other hobbies or interests. Serena's been playing soccer. Muna got a job. Marley's in a church youth group. Isaac's hoping for a football season.
For a good hour and a half every day, I just forget about the virus and I forget about what's going on around me. And I'm a kid again.
Things feel normal again.
Yeah.
Kids are resilient, but as we begin to face more shutdowns and possible.
Okay, I just wanted to show you that little clip because it was helpful to see just kids' thoughts of like what it's like for them now during this season. And it really is linked to technology, right? The fact that kids are like, you saw when they said, who wants to go back to in person? Everybody raised their hand, right? And, we're so blessed here that we can be in person at this school, but it's still hard because I'm sure many of you activities that you used to do, maybe you can't do them anymore. Getting together with certain people, like it's been very limiting. And so I know that kind of has led a lot of you into using technology more. But like they said at the end, it's about coming up with alternative ideas. What's something you've always wanted to learn that you can learn instead of just quickly running to the screen, or you want to just instead go do a workout or read a book or help your mom cook or clean or something. Like come up with alternatives to just going to the screen as a default. And schedule time to get together with your friends, like for a FaceTime or something, and do it at a time when it's not in the middle of your class, right? Because you still want to focus on your learning, and then you can have time to get together with friends. And I know it looks different because it's, it's a lot of the times it's through FaceTime. But again, it's not going to be like this forever. But if we start setting routines and habits now, and we just allow the screen time to just multiply, it's going to have a negative effect on us. So we do have to really, it's almost like a battle that we have to fight every day to just limit the amount of time. We just kind of do what's necessary with the screens and then go take a break, give our eyes a rest, give our body a rest, right? And just try and strive to have a balanced life, even with your sleep. If your device is keeping you up all night and you're not getting rest, that is not good, especially in this age that you're at. Like your brain needs that deep sleep to grow, and your body does as well. And eating healthy. I mean, all of these things are so important for you to grow, and develop the way that you're supposed to be during this time in your life. So, but again, it's a choice that we have to make. So let's go over, we're going to go through this. So everybody, we talked about media balance a lot through this entire unit, but it's pretty much getting us to feel healthy and good, have a balance between our family, our friends, our school, our hobbies, and then the amount of time that we're in front of a screen. And it really, again, you may even need to set up a schedule if that's the way that it needs to be done. But you have to come up with a way to have a media balance where it's not just the entirety of your life, that you are doing other things and you are taking a break from it. It just has to be part of your life now. It's not healthy to just only do things with screens. And digital media, we know, I think we talked about this so many times, right? But it's basically we're connecting to the internet on either a phone, an iPad, a laptop, whatever device it is. And we're sharing information, we're communicating with people, we're doing all sorts of things in our digital life, right? So we're going to actually be coming up with a simile to end our unit. And I'm sure everybody should know what this is, but it's a figure of speech in which comparison is made between two different things using the words like or as. And that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be coming up with similes for our digital media life. Like, for example, my digital life is like a window on the world. because it allows me to see all kinds of new things and imagine other possibilities. Here's another one. My digital life is like a roller coaster because it's exciting and full of ups and downs. My digital life is like a party where I meet a lot of different people because it feels loud, out of control, and yet fun. So everybody's going to get one of these sheets that I'll email to you guys. And you're going to think about your digital media life. You're going to come up with a simile. So it kind of prompts you through some questions. So what are your current digital habits? So jot them down, positive, negative, jot them down. What are your current digital habits? And then you're going to complete the statement. My digital life is like a blank because. So think about what your simile looks like. What is your digital media like? And then for your personal challenge, choose one digital habit you want to change or try to do differently. Why is it important that you change this habit? So maybe you have a negative habit that you've developed during COVID and you're like, I really need to break this. I don't want to keep living like this. What is it? And then it says, make a plan for how you would like to change your habit. So when will you do something different? What can you do instead? So come up with a plan and then boost your challenge. The last question, what are some ways you can give your new habit a boost and make it easier to do? If you're trying to break a bad habit, what are some things you can do so that you don't slip back into old ways? So you're going to think about that. So that's really how I want to end the unit with you guys, is really just thinking about your simile for your digital life, and then identify one thing that you really want to change and come up with how you're going to change it. So be realistic with it. Remember, SMART goals, right? You want it to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, right? When you set a goal. And so if you identify something that you're like, gosh, I really need to change this in my life right now with my digital life. I am spending way too much time on TikTok. Maybe your goal looks like, I'm only allowed to do 5 minutes of TikTok, if all of my work is done. And then maybe on like Saturday, I get 30 minutes. Like come up with an actual real measurable amount and set a challenge for yourself to do it. So I don't know what it is. Everybody's life is different. So you're going to have to identify that. And please be thoughtful. There's no quiz this week. So this is your only homework, is to think about your digital habits and to challenge yourself to come up with one new digital habit that is going to be healthy and really help to support you in feeling more balanced. Okay. So this is really the end. If you have any questions or anything about any of the lessons that we've done in our Internet Safety Digital Citizenship Unit, please feel free to reach out. If you're ever having any issues with anything, of course, reach out to me. But otherwise, we're coming to an end with this. And then our plan will be, we actually have, I believe, 1 or 2 second step lessons left in that curriculum, and we'll be finishing those off. And then we're moving into our computer coding, computer science that we'll be doing for the rest of the school year. Okay. So please finish up all of the lessons and assignments from the Common Sense Media that we've been doing since the beginning of the 3rd quarter. Get them all done this week. Send them in. If you're late, it's better to send something in than not send anything and get a 0, right? So please catch up. And please be thoughtful with this assignment. You can just type your answers in, okay? All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.